Hello, time travelers! Today, I'll be discussing a topic that I feel like has been overlooked in the world of AI-generated images. The diversity of body shape. This has been a long-awaited video on my channel. A lot of people have been waiting for it. Specifically, in this video, I'm going to be focusing a lot on a crucial aspect of female anatomy that's been overlooked or simplified by AI. Wrong size Titanias when generating images. Wrong shapes, too. Well, and other parts of the body as well. This is my look of disapproval. Warning, warning, warning! Some not PG-13 words will be displayed on the screen, but I will not say them. There will be nothing R-rated, there will be no nudity in this video. But FYI, I'm not talking about making NSFW or naughty pictures or nude or anything like that. So this video is not about that. I'm not judging anybody if you make stuff like that, but if you do, you should consider watching this video because you don't understand. How do I put this? I've been an artist for decades, and I don't like seeing things that look unnatural or uncanny. Hey guys, this is Future Me. I've been working on this video for weeks and weeks and weeks, so you might see me in here wearing different shirts. So don't freak out. But I really inserted this part just to let you guys know that this video is not about objectifying women. It is about the diversity of women and how it applies to artistic expression. And I like to celebrate that. I've been an artist for a long time. So, moving on. What's frustrating for me is when Stable Diffusion can't get somebody's body shape right when I've spent hours and hours and hours gathering training data and more hours and hours and hours training different LoRAs and trying different training methods to try to get it to come out right. And it doesn't. You know, that's why it took so long to make this video, because it's all kinds of different things and I had to try to figure out how to make it linear and describe how the heck I figured out how to do it, because I did. All right, let's show you some examples of doing it wrong, followed by some ones where I did some good ones, and they came out, well, I call right, but at least they're better. This is one of the Facebook groups that I'm part of. They show a little bit more skin. They don't allow nudity, so it's cool. Here's a picture someone did of Maisie Williams, and she's got some big old tongue honker cougars. They're too big. This is Maisie Williams. All right. This is what she looks like, okay? Maybe you want them to be bigger, but that's not my goal in this video. And that's not my goal when I generate AI art. Now we got this Drew Barrymore one, and let's go look her up. She was super young in that one, so I'm not gonna count that. I'm not seeing any here. Let's add bikini to the search. All right, side view. Front view, I guess. Bad moment of taking picture, but her bajungalubers are not that big. And they're a completely different shape. They're farther apart. Now here's Kelly Clarkson. Let's look her up. That's a picture, I guess. And again, it's like the wrong shape. What's going on here? And here's one where the person made some that are too small. Mariah Carey. Look at Mariah Carey. Hers look like that. Or like that. Her IRL jumbo whatsits are bigger than these jungle look things. And oh, look, crazy hands too. This person needs to find my YouTube channel, I think. Here's one of Ariel Winter. Her wobble fluffers are a little too small and too close together, and the whole body shape is wrong. She's too petite. Let's check this out. This is what she looks like. And she's got a wider body than that, and she does not look overweight here, because you don't see a gut hanging over her bikini. Now here's some ones I did. Here's Millie Gibson. She stars on this season of Doctor Who. And we go over here, look at her bikini pics on the Google Images. Now I don't quite have the shape right here, but might just because AI drew them smushed together. It's pretty close to this image here. And here's Sonequa Martin Green. She's the star of TV show Star Trek Discovery, and I did it sort of anime style there. Check her out. That's not Sonequa. The face is, no. Here's Sonequa. Here's another one of Sonequa. Here's Rhea Seehorn. She's an actress from Better Call Saul. Got her looking like that, and if you look it up, her real life pics, she's got medium-sized hooter magoos. And here's Dakota Johnson, another one I did. This is Dakota Johnson. She recently starred in a Marvel Universe movie, Madam Web, with some smaller Chesterooskies. I don't know why I said that kind of Canadian. But here's her bikini pics that you can find with Google Images. So I got that real close. And here's one where someone has a little bit larger jubbly wooblies. Rachel Riley. I'm not trying to click on my Facebook name, Rachel Riley. And they don't look that big in some of these pictures, but some of them they do. Oh, that's an AI image generator. That doesn't count. Don't use that as an example. But she has a bunch of pictures where they look like this. So that's the size and shape I was going for. Okay, this video is going to have the following sections set up as timestamps that you can see looking at the track bar at the bottom or going into the descriptor what's it box below. You know how YouTube works. The first section is better prompting, including testing a LoRA or an embedding that you train. The next is special prompting, that's above and beyond just a regular prompt engineering and testing that you have to do to see how close you can get to the correct body shape. Third is using body shape LoRAs that you can find on Civit AI, specifically LoRAs for different shaped badonkadonks. Fourth is some tips for training your own LoRAs or embeddings or whatever in Kohya, how to make it be more accurate with the body shape. And the last section, which is fifth, is some examples of LoRAs and prompt images I've used so you can see some combinations. Tier 2 subscribers will have access to the script for this video. It has everything in this video plus some of my scripted jokes and whatever. On to the first section, which is better prompting. Speaking of my look of disapproval, whenever I see suggestive ads on YouTube that are suggesting like naughty stuff, I report them. Even Manscaped. I know what you're talking about without you having to go on and on about but those things are inappropriate. So when I'm generating images and something inappropriate comes up on my screen as a generation, I have to see, okay, is that just a one-off? I like generated a dozen pictures and only one of them showed something naughty, like nipples or whatever? Or is it because something's wrong with my prompt? And that's why I use Stable Diffusion on my computer and not Stable Diffusion on some website somewhere or in the cloud or in whatever that Google Share thing is people use that runs on other people's GPUs or Midjourney or whatever, because I don't know what they're tracking. And for the ones that actually block naughty stuff being generated, I won't know if my prompt is bad. Something else that's not what I'm trying to make will come out. It won't alert me, oh, I need to put NSFW into the negative prompt, for example. You still need to test the LoRAs and embeddings and stuff you train a certain way before you try to put them in the style or the clothing or whatever that you were originally intending to do with them, just to make sure it actually looks like the person. So I'll do an example right now. Civit AI is usually where I get my prompt ideas. Sometimes I go to a model page that I want and see if there's any new good prompts in there. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just scroll through the pictures until I see something that stands out. This is pretty amazing right here. So open that in a new tab. This is a LoRA. I'm not going to use this LoRA, but I'm going to see if there's a prompt in here. There is, so I'm going to copy this. If you're not familiar with or don't have your own favorite realistic models, then I recommend you download and use Realistic Vision version 5.1. In my opinion, and from my testing, Realistic Vision version 6 is overtrained and inflexible. So you just go to the Realistic Vision page that I have linked in the description and click this one that says version 5.1 with a V on it and download it from right here with this button. If you're new to Automatic1111, I will show you where this checkpoint model goes, what folder it goes in. However, I recommend you watch the following videos in order and do the stuff that's in the videos to get more comfortable with Automatic1111. Once, how to use Automatic1111. Tuned is some tips and tricks in Automatic1111, and 3rd is some tips, part 2. Those will be linked in the description, you know, the box thing that you have to click. It's below. All right, this is a folder where you put all of your checkpoint models. Like I was just talking about, downloading Realistic Vision 5.1. I have a whole folder just for my AI stuff, and then a whole folder just for all my different versions of Stable Diffusion. Yes, in case I want to try a fork or something, Automatic1111 is not Stable Diffusion. It is a fork GUI, which is an interface. Fork means a different version or different flavor, if you will.
Flavor's gone.
So in here, I've made separate folders. You don't have to do this, but I recommend you at least make a real one, like or name it realistic, and then an artistic or anime or whatever way you want to separate them. It makes them easier to find up here because you see like here it says real / realistic vision. Ignore that error. I decided to reload this. If I go in here, all my realistic vision checkpoint models are there, along with other realistic models. By the way, I just loaded Forge instead of Automatic1111 because it's going to be faster for this demonstration. I did a video on Forge. You can check it out by clicking the card right here. It can do some things, but not other things. Nowadays, I use it for all my LoRA testing because I'm testing on 4x4 square. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm doing some upscaling and stuff like that. It's really fast. It's faster than Automatic1111 for those things. Where it fails is it doesn't have all the plugin support that Automatic1111 does. So I've got that prompt in there. So what I'd like to do is get the name of the LoRA that I want to use, which here's my LoRA's all backed up, and here's an image example I just opened. And I hit F2 because I saved my example image with the same name as the LoRA, and then I go back into the image generation tab, well, text to image, go over to this LoRA tab, paste it in. If I don't see it, hit refresh right here, and I see it here. Okay, if it doesn't see it here, that means I don't have it inside of the correct folder inside of Stable Diffusion folders. I'll show you where that is. My AI stuff, Stable Diffusion Web UI, which is your installation folder, and then models, and then LoRA. And then when I'm testing LoRa's, before I decide which one's the good one, I have them in here, because these are all recent ones that I did. Here's Rachel Riley, all the different versions. And then when I'm done, I have this people folder. People testing was my old testing folder. I need to get rid of that. And I put it in there. Sometimes you're testing a bunch of different LoRa's, like, for example, this is step 1900 in this particular training. Let's go back into the Rachel Riley testing folder where this came from. And I would do an XYZ plot to test these. That's not what this video is about. So let's say you already did that. I'm going to give it a simple negative prompt. So let's go to textual inversion so I just put some negative embeddings in there. My favorite two are fast negative embedding. And all I'm doing is I'm in the textual inversion tab, type something in here for the search, click it for it to go in there. Now I've got a positive prompt and a negative prompt. I'm going to go ahead and press Control Enter. 512 by 512. I just remembered. I trained this LoRA to be 768 by 768. Let's change it then. Close-up portrait of beautiful model, focus, dramatic shadow. Okay, now we're going to fix this because this is all one token. Put woman, comma, close-up portrait. We don't need to say beautiful model. A lot of people like to use the word beautiful. Like, does AI know the difference between beautiful and not beautiful? Let's not fool ourselves here. Focus on eyes. Okay. Dramatic shadow. Vocative. No, this is not natural language. We're not in Midjourney here. Analog film noise. Another comma. All right, now let's change the batch to 12 to see if I can get a better generation. And before anybody calls me out, yes, I found my typo where I didn't have the letter N at the end of the word woman. I fixed it. So calm down. While this runs, in case you don't know, this right here is called the instance prompt. And this is a class prompt. I have to have them both in there correctly for it to be able to pull the data out of my trained LoRA. All right, I'm going to use this one. Hit the recycle button. Change the batch to 1. All right, now let's say you're getting really close to the face and you want to test other parts of the thingy that you've trained. And by thingy, I mean LoRA or embedding or Lohan or Locon or Dora the Explorer, whatever. All right, now we're going to try it without the word jumbaloos or dobhonkadoobers. We're not writing that yet. So we've got the word woman in there, so looking at the viewer, cleavage, wearing bikini. I typically like to put this before the direction of where the focus is and before like the styling stuff, so right here. So why are we putting the word cleavage? What's cleavage mean? A sharp division, a split, or the splitting of rocks or crystals in a preferred plane or direction. Cell division, especially, wait, no, the first one. The hollow between a woman's chestabus when supported, especially as exposed by a low-cut garment. See what I'm saying here? Garment. So you define that you want to see cleavage and what they're wearing as a top. You could put low-cut shirt or whatever, or dress, doesn't matter. Bikini or bra, those are the easiest ones to test. I'm just gonna do one image right now, and it's not doing it. Already the face looks better though. Isn't that crazy? So let's take focus on eyes out. Now we're getting better. Close-up portrait. So instead, I'm gonna put upper body photograph. All right, wacky arm, bad lighting on the face in this generation, but you can take a look here to see if this area of the body is looking good. You know, like her midriff, is that the right shape? You know what I mean? The length of the neck. So let's say, so far, I want to get rid of bad lighting, deformed, or whatever type of negative prompt you like to make, but don't get too crazy right now because you're going to put a really, really fine-tuned negative prompt later when you're engineering the prompt for whatever type of images you're actually making. This is not that part. This is the part where you're testing your LoRA, testing the body shape. Go back to 12 on the batch count, hit Control Enter or click the generate orange what's it button there. And I like, while that runs, Rachel Riley. You could put bikini pics. Sometimes you can just put the word wallpapers. You know, there'll be some good ones. Images. Or you can look at your training data. In this case, I'm going to try it without the words bikini pics on there. That gives me a good idea of the body shape here, but I can't really see her midriff. When I gathered her training pictures before, I remember she got pregnant at one point, so she might be like a few weeks along there, so I got to be careful. All I'm doing here is finding a good shape of her body to match up to make sure it's generating correctly. Here's a really good one of the face, so I'd have this open by itself. I saw dress come up as an autocomplete, so I've tried that. And this is a good image. This is actually one of the images I use as a training image. If you want, you can right-click this and hit the letter I in Firefox, and it does work in other browsers too, some of them at least, to where it's just the image you're looking at and close the other tabs. So you can go back and forth and check your generations to see how you're doing. So the face isn't quite right? But that's not a big deal because we can test that with a detailer. I did a whole video on a detailer. What I didn't say is that I typically use one or two of these tabs and sometimes a third one. In this case, I'm gonna do face and eyes. This part of the body is looking pretty close because this is a well-trained LoRA. I'm still going to go into it if it doesn't look that good, but I'm going to generate another dozen with a detailer on to see how well the face comes out. If you have the newer version of a detailer installed, going to make sure you check this and that the tabs you're using are checked. And I'm going to hit Control Enter to generate. Now, as you can see, some of these have better faces than others. But let's say you've got it all ironed out and you're ready for the next step. If you don't like the chestaboo's shape that you've got going on right now, then at this point is we're going to test body shape LoRAs. But I'm going to be going over that in a later section in the video. If you are testing for the hips or the waist, make sure the prompt says what they are wearing. So wearing blouse and jeans, that's good. Let's try that. I'm going to change upper body photograph to full body photograph. And change wearing bikini to wearing blouse and jeans. I got an extra enter there, take that out. I'm gonna hit Control Enter to generate that. Or in this case, since she was wearing a dress, I could have prompted for dress. It's fine, it's whatever you wanna do. So now you can go through them to make sure the body shape's correct. It looks pretty good. In my opinion, I would have retrained this LoRA because the face isn't coming out quite right. But I'm moving on for demonstration of the video. All right, you can tease the waist, hips, and torso with prompting. You can put small waist, wide hips, narrow waist. But be careful. Prompt for the correct body shape, or you get weird stuff. Like, it'll be super narrow, or if you put wide hips, it'll be super wide. And here's an example of using a negative prompt. Let's say this keeps generating images where the hips are too wide. Then you go into the negative prompt and put wide hips and do it that way and see if it fixes it. If it doesn't, then you're gonna have to retrain your model. As I wrote right here, if your generations are still not coming out right, then you need to check your training data and retrain the model. Like I mentioned, the face isn't right in this case. There are a few LoRAs for this, but they're ridiculous, so don't waste your time. I'll show you 2 examples of what I mean. They're ridiculous. Like, what the frack are you doing here? What is this junk? And I'm not body shaming. I'm terrible idea shaming. Don't do this. Close. We will be talking about body shape LoRAs for the chest in a later section, because they work, because you need them sometimes. So speaking of a well-trained LoRA, if you train it right, the debunkaroos, or hunkeros shape should be there or almost there. Like in this case, Rachel Riley's look about right, the face isn't quite right. So if you liked the video so far, please like, subscribe, comment. I watch YouTube too, and it gets annoying hearing videos say that, but I think about it, and it's a nice reminder, because it's like being shadow banned. If the viewers don't comment and like and subscribe, then YouTube literally hides your video from people. It's... Anyways. Alright, this is the special prompting section. Sometimes you need special words to get the desired look. That's where some prompt trigger words will help you. And I found them in LoRA Dataset Tag Manager. If you don't know what that is, I'm opening it up right now, is this thing. So you can check your training data tag files and manage the tags in there. I explain how to use LoRA Dataset Tag Manager in the video I did about how to train your own LoRA for any face. If you already know how to train a LoRA and you don't want to watch that whole video, you could skip in that video to about 9 minutes 49 seconds, and later on in the video at 35 minutes around there is when I actually start using it. I'd appreciate if you left a like and a comment on that video so you can tell the YouTube algorithm that you appreciate my work. Trust me, it helps me out a lot. So loading up Rachel Riley here. I was going down here, and let's say example, I had this because I made sure I had enough of these so that it can get her chestal area, so it could learn that. And there's that word that we've all know that we're trying to do. And then the medium kind, I went like this and I tried different ones to see which all ones were in here, because large ones, medium, which I already have in there, small. But I'm just going to show you which ones are in there. And what it is it actually has a database of the tokens that actually work for Stable Diffusion. So that's why you want to use them. That's where I found the word cleavage. There's this one with chest bumps apart. Only some women are like this. Okay? Okay, past me couldn't find any examples of this, but here's some that I found later. Make sure you only add this tag to the pictures where you can see that they are apart, not like, you know, the ones where they're smushed together from a bra or whatever. So it's diversity. If they are wearing a particular outfit that shows it that way, add the tag. Here, I'm gonna mention it while I'm here. If you find a good picture of the person's behind, then that's good. The keyword it uses isn't here, but sometimes you'll see it, and it's another word that I can't say. It's that, which I think is dumb. It would make sense that you were just, you know, clean about it and use that word all the time. To see how it seems to want to favor that one, the 3-letter word. Whatever. Fine. So let's say you have too much or too little of something, like toned abs or cleavage. Let's try this. Wearing a bikini. Upper body photograph. Let's get rid of dramatic shadow because I don't need to hide the face. Analog film noise is fine. Cleavage, let's put half, which is 0.5, and put toned abs, 0.5. A lot of actresses and celebrities work out a lot, so sometimes you want this to match them, but sometimes just putting it by itself makes it too strong. So let's generate a dozen of these and see how they come out. All right, ignore the funky hand. It's showing all this cleavage. Too much abs there. And maybe because I put her in a bikini. I'll change it to wearing shirt and shorts. Control Enter and try more. And here I am looking at my phone because I need to do something in between generating stuff. Or I could play my guitar or go to the other room and come back. I usually do this in the weekend while I'm watching YouTube. That's when I catch up on my subscriptions. I got my laptop remoted in to this machine while I'm doing these, and I've got another computer hooked up to my TV while I'm watching YouTube, so that's 3 computers so I can relax on the couch. So this one's got not enough because the word cleavage is supposed to open up their top a little bit. This one has too much. But this is more towards you trying to generate something that is towards the style you want by not having it fully exposed and show too much skin, whereas the abs one is trying to get the right body shape if that part of the body is being shown. You could take an image like, let's say, this one. Click this button so you're just using that seed number. Change the batch count to 1. Go down to the script section at the bottom and choose XYZ plot. Hit Windows button R on the keyboard so that the run box opens. Type Notepad, press Enter, and put like this, cleavage 0.1. What I'm doing here is copy pasting the first part so I can put the other numbers at the end. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or as many as you want. And what we're doing is trying all these different weights. What you want is a comma at the end of each one and then make it all one line. And go up here and change this 0.5 to a 0.1. This is so it matches the first number you will set up in the XYZ plot test. I already don't like how much abs they're showing here, so let's change it to a 0.3. If I go down to the script and then change it to XYZ plot and then change this one to prompt SR, which stands for search and replace. And what it's going to do is look for a cleavage with the weight 0.1. It's actually looking for this exact string of characters. And then it's going to replace it with 0.2 and then with 0.3, 0.4, and so on until it's done with everything you gave it here. So when you do it, make sure there's no spaces in between the strings you want it to try. Make sure the batch size is 1 again, and we're just going to test this image, and that's why we're using this seed right here by hitting that button while this image is over here. Press Control Enter, go back to whatever the frick I was doing over here. I like to right click the output like this and hit open in a new tab so that I can zoom in like that, and it's not really changing it that much, but for some LoRAs it does. I think you're just gonna have to believe me. Actually, I can try a different seed. Before you do your image generating, if you go to settings, go to the section that says saving images, and then look at saving images / grids and click that. You want this, and I'll have this in the description box for you to copy paste. So model name, this part is going to put the name of the checkpoint into the generated image. The seed number separated with an underscore so you could see it. And then a generation number is so that you don't have 12 images trying to save at the same file name and overwriting each other. Then you have to hit apply settings and reload UI for it to work. Now when I hit this button, it opens up the folder, in this case where the grids are that I did. But I can go up one folder, up one more folder, and go down into text images / images. There's all the other stuff I was generating this week. Scroll down so I can find something better to test this on. Like here's a good one where it's not showing enough for me to test the LoRA. And because I set up the file name saving, all I have to do is click on an image that I want the seed number from, hit F2. That gets me into rename mode, like I'm gonna rename the file. And all I need to do is grab the seed part. So in this case, it starts with a 3 and ends with a 1. How I know is because there's an underscore before and an underscore after. Just like I have these underscores right here. Go down here. Whatever the seed is here, you can just erase it and then paste that seed in. Control Enter. I know this looks like it takes forever, but you get used to it And I'm just mentioning everything that pops up so that you guys know the same stuff that I figured out over the... Quiet! Stupid ad! So I did another test, and as you can see, it's not doing the cleavage until way up at full weight for this image. But basically, that's for when you're trying to generate images that are what kind of clothing you want. But when you're testing the body shape, stick to bikini or underwear. It's just easier. And then go and put in the actual clothes that you want it to generate after you've confirmed everything's looking right. There's some more terms that you can put in here, like thick hips, toned, muscular. Fit is something that I use more often than abs. You can put small, large, medium, or perky, bajumba loose, or maybe some other words like saggy, whatever's they are. Because what it is, that I mentioned this earlier, there's only 4 different shapes in Stable Diffusion. There's large, medium, I don't know why I'm going up and writing them in reverse order like this or whatever, small, and there's this one, flat chest. It doesn't say a jumbalumbas like these 3 do. It says chest. Now be very careful to set up your prompt correctly with stuff in the negative prompt like NSFW, nipples, exposed chest mongers, nudity. So let me just go ahead and put that in there now. I can put wearing bikini top and shorts, change that to cleavage, replace toned abs with fit. Scroll down, turn off my script, generating an image. While that runs, why you want to put this in? It's because, so if your girlfriend or wife, or maybe you still live with your mom, I'm not judging, walks in the room and you've got these big old chestabloobles on the screen and with big old headlights, you can be like, look, it's not on purpose. I wrote not to do that in the negative prompt. I mean, seriously. I put NSFW, which means not safe for work, and exposed jumbly doobles, so it won't show them. And I even wrote the word nudity. Again, this is the reason why we use Stable Diffusion and not stuff like Midjourney where they shame you for it. Because I've even heard of people getting banned for having too many of these. Look at these. I'm not going to say tonk hunker cougars or anything. You got the saggy kind, hanging kind, and perky kind. These are words that can alter the shape a little bit without having to use LoRAs, or you can use these in combination with body shape LoRAs, which is the next section. But I don't use these as much these days because of the really good body shape LoRAs combined with the really good training that I do, which I'll be getting into later in the video. Alright, this section is about what I call body shape LoRAs. I'm showing this one first because it's got a really bad name that makes it almost impossible to find, because even the colloquialism? Yeah, colloquialism. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to show these. This actually gets more saggy than what these show, but you see how these folks are trying to make ones that look like real ones instead of everybody having exact perfect ones all the time. Here's another one called Torpedo What's-Its. Look, just go in here, in a Civet AI, in a search box, and write Dob Knockers. You know, you see how it's spelled? Dob Knockers. And change the filter to SD 1.5 or even SDXL 1.0, because there's not as many of these, but some of them work. I gotta turn off this filter over here, which I had it on Lycoris, because there's a bunch of Lycoris for SD 1.5. Some of these are ridiculous. Look out where it says they're popping out. You don't want that, because that means a picture that's inappropriate. And here's a style, which is like a pose and seeing through the top. You don't want that. Mammaries on tray. No, we're not doing that. On glass, no. This one might be one. Don't want this one. This adjust one is one. Let's see if we could show that without showing anything NSFW. Nope. Well, I'm gonna have to put some nope signs in front. But obviously, they're changing the weight from 3 to 7 to get a larger size. That's very handy, actually. But that would be hard to mix with the trained face LoRa. This is a part where you want to make sure no one else is around when you're judging if you want to download this LoRa or not. When you click these to show these. A lot of these are NSFW. Be careful. When you download them, they go into your Stable Diffusion Web UI folder, and then Models, and then LoRa. So in my case, I made a folder just for them, as you could see it there. It says Womberchuskis, and I've got all these different ones. This is my folder for SD 1.5, and I actually have another installation of Stable Diffusion just for SDXL to keep it separate. Stable Diffusion, SDXL-dev, Models, LoRa, SDXL, Flopper Noonies, and then there's a few that I've used. I'm going to show you 2 examples of ones that I've used recently. Here's Rose McGowan. I'll drop that in. And then click this button. Send everything down. Natural huge ones. New. But she doesn't have huge ones. So if I get 0.3, it only uses a tiny bit of the size that comes in this one. And I'll show you the image. See, it looks like her. And that's a generation using those LoRa's together. Let's look at Alyssa Milano, because I also trained that last week, right? This is the image for that. See how they're kind of apart? Well, I didn't have to prompt that they were apart. And they're definitely a different size and shape than Rose McGowan. And in this case, I'm not using one in this generation. But let's say that I did want to use one in this generation. What I'm going to do is go down to LoRa, type this jigs word. I've got these 2 that I can plop in, but this one has the correct word in it, so I'm not going to hit that yet. Click here so the cursor's right there, press enter. And you see how it puts it right here? Now, let's put the correct word in. That's just cleavage. I was testing that. You don't want that. You want the one that actually do the shape. Sometimes you can use this if you don't have to use one of these others. You can only combine so many LoRa's until the image generates really weird stuff. Bigger. See, if you have a flat chest, there's a good one. I'm going to skip that one. She doesn't have flat chest. But if you did, you would do all your perky ones and your flat ones together and test them together. This exposed one, I downloaded on accident, haven't deleted it yet. It's like they're popping out of the shirt. It's useless to me. Okay. Squeezing them together with your elbows like that. It's a rare case you need to use that. Experimental big, huge ones. I'm just joking, but they're big natural. I'm joking and they're fake. These are just rounder, and these are like teardrop shape. Torpedo is even more teardrop shape. Oh, words is hard. This is a low con for hanging ones. Natural, perfect, whatever. Skip the perky one in this case. Perky. Okay, try the sagging ones, whatever. And now I've got all of these LoRa's referenced right here, and I'm not going to use them all right now. So I already have Notepad earlier from the testing earlier. I'm going to go in here and copy paste all of these together over here. And I'm going to use Control-H. Control-H is harder to use in Windows 11, but it's a box up here, works pretty much the same. Erase whatever I was doing before, and put find what. I want a greater than, a space, and a less than. And that's going to do a search for every time it sees that. But put the cursor before that part and change it to greater than, comma, less than. And hit replace all. Now they all look like that. Now you want to change all of this weight to colon 0.3. And it's a habit, but I always hit the cursor before and it goes to the next one. Find next. Replace, 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 replace. That's just if you don't want to replace that particular string in the whole thing. Now you go to the beginning, grab the first one, copy that over, delete that. Delete any other extra LoRa's you've got going on. I've got a zoom slider thing like that because you don't want to test to have 3 LoRa's in yet. If you're going to do that later after you've got these 2 LoRa's playing nicely with each other. Put that after the LoRA with your trained face. You see how it's got the name of it here, huge, whatever, bloobers with 0.3. Now you're going to copy paste all of these into your script. Go to generation, scroll all the way down, script, XYZ plot. Change it to prompt SR, which is search and replace. Paste that in. Now I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to make sure I don't have a detailer on or highres.fix so I can just save time. All I'm doing right now is checking to see which one makes the best body shape. So it says wearing, okay, in this case, I've already got good prompt, wearing leather bikini, so that's going to hopefully draw the top and the bottom. I have defined the size, which you have to do that sometimes. And I had to, in my testing, put parentheses on it to give it a little bit higher weight, but just a tiny bit. And then hit generate. So it's going to make a XYZ plot with the number of different LoRAs that you have in this long string. Here's the thing with these body shape LoRAs. They originally intended to be used on their own or with a style, not with a face LoRA. So you have to keep in mind that when you combine LoRAs, it cannot be over 100%, because what it's doing is the textual inversion part, and sometimes the UNet part of the image generation. And if you have too much, then think about it as too many voices in the room arguing about how to draw the picture. You see right here, I've got the face LoRA at 0.7. A well-trained face LoRA, you're going to be using it at 0.7. Very rarely do I go higher than or lower than that. And then you're using this one at 0.3. And then what you're doing is, this has got weights and tensors in it of how to draw the body shape, but so does this. So does this. You train this on how to draw the body shape, but we need to mix them to fine tune it. So if I zoom in and I go through here, face looks funky because I don't have a detailer on, and the picture is not high res because I don't have highres.fix on, but I can look at the cleavage and the abs and the hips and stuff to find the one that looks the most like the target body shape. As you can see, each one looks distinctively different than the one before. And if you get one that the bajumbalubers are too big, but you like the shape, let's say, let me see. In her case, it's this helper trail one looks the best. Let's say I thought that was too big of them. Put your cursor above all of these, and then hit Control F, which is search. Type part of the name. I'm just putting helper and press enter. Oh, it's right here, right in front of my face. And I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to change that to a 0.1 and grab some of this. I don't need all of it. And go back over to the notepad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's try 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I can't count today. 2, 3, 4, 5. Put some commas at the end, except for the last one, and do delete end, delete end, delete end, delete end, and then shift home and then Control C to copy it all. That's a 0.1. Good. That's where this first one has to match. If you spotted that I accidentally deleted that symbol there, the less than, then I fixed it. Shut up. Calm down in the comments. So let's see how it affected it. So going from 0.1 up to 0.5, they actually get flatter and smaller for some reason. So if you ever have a problem, go to the LoRA's page. I'm having trouble finding it. Maybe it's this one. Alright, don't show that. I just stumbled across this one. These are all different shapes. It's going to be a pain in the butt for me to censor all of these, but they've got trigger words for each one. I don't know how the weighting would work, but the point is you want to see if they've got an XYZ plot example that you can look at, and also scroll down and read all this stuff here, because sometimes they tell you what weights it works in. It's like this one works from 0.6 to 0.8. Now some of them, where they've fine-tuned it, you can go above 100%. Also look over here to see if there are trigger words for the LoRA that might help your generations. I just found this LoRA, and obviously I'm going to have to put nope signs again. Anyways, I want to show you guys something. Say you've just downloaded it and you've noted that it has these trigger words. You should already have Stable Diffusion running, and go in here and type a word to search for it. If your LoRA doesn't show up down here, you need to hit this refresh button over here. Then you hit this gear icon just on the top right hand corner of it, like that. And I recommend you copy paste the URL over here in case you need to look up something later. Scroll down to activation text. If there's only one trigger word here, you want to copy it with the little copy button and go back and put it in activation text. However, if you got a bunch of them like this one has, you go like this and copy all of them and go back up here. I'm taking that out because I don't want them to be apart every time, and paste it in like that so that you have notes for later. This is another example, but this one's for SDXL. I know they're super huge. Calm down. They don't have to be that big. I scrolled down and I saw that they had normal size ones. You see how here it just has trigger words with just one? You would copy that. I'm going to note what this says right here so I can go search for it. Hanging. Here it is. Hit the little gear thingy. What's it? Go down and paste in the activation text. I'm going to go back, grab the URL. Go back up to the top and paste it in so that I can find it later if I need it. Stable Diffusion version, I'm going to hit SDXL for that. Preferred weight is something I should have done for the other one, but we'll do it for this one. Some of these LoRa's will have this kind of stuff right here. You want to put that in. And you see how I just pasted it in there as a note? Now, if I scroll down, if you want, you can put like 0.5 right here. And then when you hit save, it puts it in there. And then when you click it, see how it's got the weight and the trigger word already there for you? I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on this, but as you can see, the helper trail above 0.3 and even going further up to 0.5, it made them smaller and flatter, and it's actually making it more like her, and I'm not sure why, but that's fine, that's fine. I could spend hours on this. You can spend as much time on this as you want to tweak it to get it right. But you want to make sure the LoRA for the face is trained as good as you can, so this has less importance in your testing. Finishing up this section, for those of you who just don't want to go on Civet AI and look them up yourself and dodge all the weird LoRAs that you don't need, I'm going to try to find all the different LoRAs I use for homunculunga shapes and put them in a document, but not for free. It's going to be in my tier 2 folder on Patreon. That's tier 2. So I got a bunch of documents in there. However, you can do like I did and sift through all the ones on Civet AI. Okay, this section is about the tips that you need for training a good LoRA or embedding model. So you may or may not have heard about how you want to get so many images of the portrait, or the face, and then some with the shoulder, and then some with the torso, and a couple full body pics. Well, the real hack is that if you can get the full body pic of the celebrity or whoever in a bikini, then it learns their body shape because the AI could see around the edge of the body. I have tested with, what word should I use for this? Naked pictures, but those don't work for some reason. They will generate images of like clothing merged into the skin. You would think that kind of picture tells the AI clearly, hey, this is what the person's body shape is, but no. Experiment yourself with it, but you just be warned. All right, let's check out some examples. This first one is Rachel Riley. I couldn't find any bikini pics of her. So this dress was pretty tight and it was from the side, so I used that. And there's a good one of the butt. Sometimes you just put the word butt after their name in a Google image search and you might find something. So you can get, their back, and there's the size of their waist and the length of their back of their neck and everything, just by putting that one word in the search. But I've got a few pictures like this where you could see this area, and that helped a lot. So with Dakota Johnson, I found a couple bikini pics, even one with the butt. And there's the other one. And that's how those generations were able to come out so good from the trained LoRA. With Ella Purnell, I got 2 good bikini pics, and I had to upscale them with the Extras tab in Automatic1111. There's one, and there's the other one. You gotta be careful with upscaling pictures. You can't start with something overly pixelated or overly blurry and then expect it to train the model well, because otherwise your generated images are gonna be pixelated or blurry. Don't do that. All right, I'm gonna tell you about some upscalers for you to check out on your own time. If you're not on my Patreon, then you're gonna have to pause the video and type out what you see with a .pth at the end into Google. For example, Anime Sharp, you just put a .pth, you go find where it is and download it. But the good ones for realistic upscaling is what I'm about to go through. That's a good anime one. Ultra Sharp's kind of crap when you see what the other ones are capable of doing. These 2 universal ones, this neutral one is good for a lot of stuff, and if you want to add a little bit of sharpness, grab that one. Same for these face update ones. These are better for portrait pictures of people's faces. And this one is my new favorite. This 4X FF HQ DAT. Grab those. But if you are on my Patreon, you can just read the doc from this video. It'll be in the tier 2 folder. In another folder in there that says undocumented solutions. It's a joke about how other people don't document stuff. Okay, I have this new hack that I just figured out, and it was from watching other training videos for other things besides people's faces and bodies and things, and I tried a trick I saw somewhere on training people, and it worked. It made the AI learn the body shape better. Check this out. I'm going to show you some examples, okay? This is a picture that I found when I was collecting images for Morena Baccarin. I'm just going to save a few examples to a folder and show you something. And here's a random picture I just found. Whatever. Let's download that too. I'm going to use my FFmpeg image converter. Go into that folder, FFmpeg. If you have a way to convert all the pictures in a folder all at once to PNG, then go ahead and use it. If you want to use the converter I made, I did a video about it, and you can click that over here later after you're done watching this video. I'm gonna give it this folder path where I just downloaded everything, convert everything into PNGs, go back over to Forge, which I actually have Forge running instead of the Automatic1111, do back from directory, and if you go over into settings over here and go to saving images/grids, and put this into your image's file name pattern, and then change saving the image to an existing file and put add number suffix. Watch what this part does. What it'll do is when it generates the upscaled image, it'll have it in the same folder but with a -1 at the end. Go to Extras tab. I choose resize ahead of time depending on how much I want to upscale to. Like this one needs to be clarified and sharpened a little bit, but you don't need to upscale it because it's already 1500 by 1909. This one's a pretty high resolution too. This one as well. So is this one. So let's try Universal Upscaler Sharp. Resize 1. Hit generate. That didn't do anything. That's unfortunate. So I have to delete all these extra ones, not a big deal. Let's just try 1.5. Now you see it's actually working. You can even do like 1.15 or 1.5. Codeformer down here is the best one for using AI to generate the face based off of what it sees. And it's like 50-50. Sometimes if the lighting is affecting the eyes, where there's more light on one eye than the other, then it will draw a weird curve inside of the eye because it thinks that's where the end of the eye is when it's just a shadow. And I usually use it at 50% strength, which is a 0.5 in both of these boxes. This is like a reverse. 0 is maximum effect and 1 is minimum. So if you wanted to do like a 25% on both, you have to do it like this, 0.25 and 0.75. This just finished. Let's see how we did. I would not end up using this one. I would try a couple upscalers first to see if I got better results. Like these are looking really bad. So I'm going to show you another upscaler. I tried these two JPEG remover things, and this cyan DJPEG one seems to be better. I could do it like this, but let's say I only wanted to remove JPEGs a little bit without affecting the image. I could put it as the second one, give it like 0.5 strength. Go in there. I tried to put you in there. You're supposed to go in there. Okay. FFHQ for the first one. Let's try this with code former turned on. And this one takes longer. And especially because the images are already really big. All right, it took a while, but it did this first one. It's still working on the other one. So let's check it out. You see that? It's totally clear now. Now, I would not use this as a portrait if it looked this, I would say smooth. It doesn't look sharp. But I can use it for a full body pic. And I'm going to show you a trick because I don't use buckets. Buckets is where you don't have to crop your images into squares. I've tried that a few times and it does not improve stuff. I did A/B tests. Maybe I should have done a few and did a video about it. But check out this picture again and I'll show you the problem and the solution. We got this great picture of the full body, but you can't crop it to one square, right? Let's look at Burmy. It's our website for cropping stuff to be a square. Drop it in there. Say I want to resize to 1024 by 1024. Now you've got this. You either do the top or the bottom. Well, you're going to want to have the top because it's the face shape that you want, right? Here, I just found this picture because it's a better example of something else I want to demonstrate before we do the next step. Just downloaded it. Zoom in. I would run the same process on this to remove the JPEG artifacts. But when you use a code former, something you want to keep an eye on. This code former right here does have a drawback. You have to zoom in and make sure the edge of the hair looks like it's correct and that the amount of JPEG artifacts or blurriness or whatever matches the face and the body, because sometimes it does a better job than everything else and you don't want to train your AI model to think that the face looks different than everything else and make like this. It's hard to explain and it's hard to find an example because I delete those right away. So for this next step, you only have to do this for pictures that are wide, like this one I just got. I like to drop them into GIMP and find the area of the person. Let's say this is full body, you can see all the way down to the feet. This is still a good example. I would use this for training if it were less pixelated. You gotta grab your rectangular select tool, go up to one of the corners, hold down Shift, that's your square. But I'm gonna let go of Shift and just use the mouse. I'm gonna go past the bottom because I don't care. I wanna get all of the bottom. And it's Alt-IC is the shortcut on the keyboard, which is Alt, Image, Crop to Selection. And then I hit Control-Shift-E, which is File, Export As. And I just hit Export, and I overwrite the original. And you could put a different name at the end and move it to a different folder or whatever you want to do for your workflow, like if you wanted to keep the other one as a backup. So now you have this where it's just the body. But how do we take care of this in the training data? So let's say my upscaling is done and I've chosen that I want to keep this and I want to get rid of the low res ones. What I do is I delete the low res ones and then I select them all and I hit Control C and then Control V. Now when you're in a training data set and you've got like 20 pictures of somebody and only 2 of them are like this, you only want to duplicate the ones that you're going to do this trick to. Watch what I do. I put all of these in there. Now you know these are duplicated, right? But I do top and bottom, top and bottom, top and bottom, top and bottom. These are all different people. Obviously, you wouldn't have different people for one training data set. Save as zip, and you save it to wherever. I'm going to show you a couple examples of how they come out. Look at that. Just the bottom half of a picture from Rose McGowan. Here's this rear bikini one with, the butt, and I have the top half and the bottom half. Here's the top half and the bottom half of this, and I should have cropped out this wording down here at the corner, but I didn't see it. My bad. Make sure you do that before you do the cropping in Burmy. Now let's check out Emma Chamberlain. She's a YouTuber. Here's a bikini one that gave me a lot of body shape. Got the chest pillows and the hips really good there, and the shoulders. There's another one that I cropped that gives a good outline of her body all the way down to the legs. Now we're going to look at Soniqua, my favorite actress from my least favorite Star Trek series. Here's a good example. Getting the side profile of her neck and her shoulder going all the way down over there. Armpit area, chest area, and all that going on. And a great view of the face profile. Now here's another example image that was already cropped, but if it wasn't cropped, I would have dropped it in GIMP and cropped it down to be like this. I'm not actually going to use this because it's way too pixelated. Don't use something that pixelated. Look at that. There's no way. I couldn't even upscale that to make it better. It's because it was here and I didn't try to find the full-size one. I just grabbed it to show you an example. But I duplicated it here, so there were two, and I dropped it into Burmy. This time you have it left and you have it right, instead of top and bottom like this. And the trick is that I have her chest jigglies in both images, so we have an area that overlaps. It doesn't have to be that area of the body, but this person's waist is in both images. And if you don't overlap, then you need to like scooch it like this so that they do. It needs to overlap by about that much at least. And what that does is it tells the AI that these are both part of the same person and both part of the same image. And it's able to learn the whole thing even though you have everything in squares. And even though I talked about this part earlier, I'm going to mention it again now to reinforce it because it's written in my notes to tell you to know what token you're going to use for the Bajubus that mostly represent the target. Flat chest, small, medium, or large. No two women look alike. Courtney Miller, for example, she has a broken iris. And there's another reason why I'm showing you this, because if you're training, like, say, someone who has different colored eyes, or one side of their face looks very different than the other, and they're a celebrity, then I've seen photographers or websites or whatever flip images. You do not want to flip images. And I've heard people on YouTube videos saying, oh, well, you can increase the number of images in your data set by flipping your images. Don't do that. People are not symmetrical. We're asymmetric. Have you ever heard that the person you see in the mirror is not the same person that other people see? That's true. It's because your face is different on one side than it is on the other side. So why would you want to train an AI to make the person symmetrical?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And Rachel Riley has lazy eye. I think it's beautiful. People look different and we're unique. Let's embrace and celebrate that. And Millie Gibson, she has a why did I say sky? A scar on her right eyebrow. I looked it up about her eyebrow. I thought she was shaving it. She's not. And sometimes I've seen it flipped, and I flip those images back. How do I flip them back? Well, if you don't have a way to do it yourself, you just press H in IrfanView. I use IrfanView, and I've talked about it in previous videos. And if you don't like IrfanView and you want to use something else, then politely tell people in the comments what you use. Don't tell me that I'm wrong, because honestly, that's just rude. People be like, why don't you use this other thing that you've never heard of before and you found your own solution on your own? And how dare you not have the same experiences as me? That's how I feel when someone says that. Just Google it. IrfanView. Download. And a symbol looks like whatever the frick that, maybe it's a red cat. I don't know. But like I was saying, people are unique. But you also have hips and a butt and a waist and how tall you are, and if you have big old tongue honker cougars or just average size bumpaloos. Do not put other chest shape sizes in the undesired tag section in Kohya when you're making the caption files. This is because you want to know which images will be misunderstood as the wrong Bajubaloo sizes so you can fix them. All right, what am I talking about? So I have Kohya loaded up. This is a newer version. You go to Utilities, WDI4 Captioning, and I tried this before. I had somebody who had small whatevers. Let's say I was putting a prefix, say it's Jane Doe, whatever. That's my tag, comma, woman for the class prompt, another comma. Undesired tags, I put large Bajuga Hoogers. Like this because she had small chestaboos. Don't do this because then you won't know which ones got tokenized with the wrong token. You want to tell the AI what size they are so that when you prompt for that size later, it looks in its trained data and draws that shape. After tagging your files, use Borrow Tag Manager. Check each mid-body and full-body picture for the body shape tokens that we talked about in this video. If they are wrong, fix them. File, load folder. Just gonna load one as an example. I'm not gonna spend a whole bunch of time on this. I'm gonna skip all the faces ones and just look at this. Okay, there's the butt and no chest stuff. This one, there's that one, and then large. That's correct. I don't see medium or small in here. And if I did, I'd fix it. There's that. Doesn't mention the size. I can move on. This one, I'm not just that. That's it. It doesn't mention the size. Here's this one and that. That's correct, but you get the idea. And here's another little tip. You could try this if you want. Whenever you calculate your repeats for your main folder, before you actually make the caption files, find any one that's got face next to it. I like to do it like this. You see how I've got top and bottom on that one? And I'm going through until I see one with just a face, and I hit Control S, and it brings this up, and I type dash face at the end. And what has that done? That's duplicated this. And then what I'll do is I'll make another folder and say make dir face, and then move star dash face dot png into the face folder. And then I'll have this folder with just the face ones in there. And then long story short, I end up with another folder with just 20 repeats for that folder with just the faces, because you need to have more face training than the other ones. And this is a great way to increase the training on the face for your model. This is the section that I like to call
Shut up and take my money!
Like I alluded to earlier in the video, I sell my LoRa's and training data and stuff on my Patreon. So here are my 3 levels. There's also a hidden one over here to free stuff. If there's anything there, I mention it in the video where I make it. Tier 1, you get all the LoRa's or any embeddings or any other models that I make, along with the test images that I make when I decide that I'm keeping it, and any notes that I might write. Tier 2 is where a lot of documentation is for things if I learn how to fix it, or I write a script you want to read while you're watching a video like this one that's in there. And prompt images. What are prompt images? Let me show you. So here's some images where I was experimenting with Emma Chamberlain. Let's say I decide to keep all of these and whatever's in here. Then any image that has a prompt in it, like this one, you'll be able to download out of my Patreon and do this. You'll be able to see the prompt, the LoRa, and any other LoRa's or embeddings that I use from reading the prompt, any upscaling that I use, etc. Go down here, turn on a detailer, and if there's more than one model there, that means I used one. If I'm using wildcards, I'll have a notes file with it that looks like this, because model faces, you can always ask me to give that to you. I have a folder in my tier 2 where I put these. Tier 3, you get all the training data that I use to train my models. And tell me if you're interested. I'm planning on building a 4th tier that I'm thinking $15. Tell me if that's expensive or not enough, where if you're not really interested in all this and you just want me to shut up and take your money, you can get high-res 4K images of all the stuff I generate. Yes, I had 2 self-promos in this video. It's a long video. I worked hard on it for literal months. All right, now this is the part of the video where I show you some examples of some LoRa's I've trained. So this first example is me writing this in the prompt, and then comma, and then whatever this is after it. So woman with big word I'm not gonna say, comma, this, comma, that as the XYZ plot. As you go over and you see and you decide which one looks the most like her. But the next example is where I did not write this in the prompt at all. This was not in there. And you see, it didn't know it was supposed to draw that part of her body, even though I used these LoRa's here. This one I just put 3 dashes because I wanted to try it with and without flat chest. This is Emma Stone. Sometimes she's blonde, sometimes she's a redhead. That's why I wanted to try this. And you see the LoRa's are not really changing her too much, and that's because the training data was so good in her case. Here's Dakota Johnson, where I was testing the flat chest LoRa by giving it a weight in the XYZ plot from 0.1, 0.5, 0.7, 0.9. What you're watching here is not just the chest, but to see if it messes up the face, because LoRa's sometimes don't blend well if they go over, 100%. Because the face LoRa I was using at 0.7. So in this case, 0.7 plus 0.9 is 1.6. And we got the naughty bit showing here. So nope, didn't want to do that. And the face doesn't look right. I'll show you again how I do this. So let's say this was the name of the LoRA. It's not. I'm in my SDXL version right now. Sorry, forgive me. And I hit Windows button R, type Notepad, and I press enter. I paste it in. Then I like to take that off of there, copy that. I'll do 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, comma, 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 chameleon. Copy paste that down to here. Can you tell I've done this a bajillion times? And it looks like that. That way it'll try all of these, and if you want to fine tune it to go in between 1 and 3, you can do that later. I skipped the even numbers just so that I'm doing less each time. You see my final result, and compared to what her chest looks like there and what it looks like there. If I drop this in so you can see the prompt, what I ended up with, I ended up using a 1 for that weight, 0.7 like I normally do for the face LoRA, and this other LoRA that gave this artistic effect to it. Here's a prompt image for some of the Rachel Riley stuff I did. Her face is actually at 0.3 here. It's because I was mixing it with this. But then here's another prompt image. 0.3 for the body shape LoRA, which is big natural bajoogers. 0.8 for her face because I had to make it stronger to fight these other two LoRAs. And this one, I give my look of disapproval because this is where like the file name is different than what comes in here. People, no, don't do that. But it's just an artistic, I don't remember what it's called. Diffusion or something? Dispersion? Whatever. It's what made this weird color effect. And this is anime one that I also did where I was trying to different weights on the body shape. As you see, they get bigger and bigger and bigger on that particular LoRA I used. Now here's some examples of no body shape LoRA needed. It's Courtney Ford, another Courtney Ford, Sophia Hasmick, and a third one, Aubrey Plaza, and this one's SDXL. So you can see that it works in SDXL as well. Because none of the stuff that I'm going over in this video changes if you're training for SD 1.5 or SDXL. And I've done a little bit of testing of training in Flux. Woo! Better be subscribed. And if you're already subscribed, subscribe harder! And here's some ones where I used the body shape LoRA to get the desired shape. This is me mixing a couple LoRAs together to combine two celebrity faces into one. I'm sorry, I don't remember who right now. There's another one that's a completely different shape. And there's two different faces again to make a different sort of Spider-Woman. And there's that one, a Kat Dennings one, and another one with Kat Dennings where I had to use a LoRA. And here's Ella Purnell when I was testing different LoRAs, trying to find the right shape. There's Gamma Chan when I was testing to see if I can get her chest flat because just writing it made them too big for some reason. So I ended up deciding on one of these LoRAs later on. And here's Rose McGowan where the LoRA helped. And I'll just show you the results of after I decided which LoRA to use. Because this is without the LoRA and this is with. And it made the shape more correct like her and less flat. Here's Billie Eilish and Kat Dennings together with some prompts to make her ginger. Isn't that interesting? And I think that's enough. And if you're still watching this video right now, I've got a favor I need you to do. Go down in the comments and tell me that this video was not too long. That's to tell the haters, scroll up and look at the other comments. This video has stuff that you need. Watch the whole thing. And I think I'll finish out the video the same way I did my Flux video. And I'll have a card for my Flux video at the end. But I'm just going to give you like maybe about a minute and a half of just some images, some pictures that I've generated. So sit back, enjoy the music, and check out the art. And I will see you in the next video.
While slowly erasing our liberties. The underground resistance must rise if we are to maintain